Definitely want to talk about the quarter here and what's happening with VMware. But first, I want to talk about the coronavirus, COVID-19, and the adjustments the tech industry is making. First of all, what are you doing with business travel? What impact is it having on demand that you're seeing out there in the marketplace?
Well, thank you, John. And, certainly our hearts go out to those who are being immediately impacted by the virus. We've taken a moderate view in our business. We've seen the supply side continue largely unaffected, and the interest in tech transformation remains high. The supply side, or the demand side, is doing well. The supply side, much more affected by the hardware aspects and delivery. So we're seeing more impact there. And you've seen that in places like the Apple impacts. In our business, we've moderated our activities for travel. We've eliminated some of our major events. We saw the Mobile World Congress. I was looking forward to seeing you there being eliminated. Some of our sales kickoffs we've moderated. We've also seen that many of the remote workforce aspects, and we've worked to give our employees more flexibility to work from home. We've also seen that to give us some business strength in our end user computing businesses. Customers really want to have more of that workforce agility as well. So overall, moderation. We continue to see tech having a very powerful future, and the interest in the demand of their transformation to remain very high. And having just gotten back from Mobile World Congress on tour, as I describe it, in Northern Europe, the interest in VMware and those technologies for transformation remains extremely high in the market.
Pat, what insight can you give us into the process that VMware and companies like it might be going through in deciding what types of events or travel visits to go ahead with and which to pull back on? Even domestically, we see a number of events, Facebook's F8, for example, getting shelved, companies pulling out of events. I've heard kind of on a one-off anecdotal basis that it has to do with questions about who are the health personnel that are on site. Have the event organizers had the time to run through various scenarios and tell companies what they'll do if there's a problem. And even if there's not the expectation that there's an outbreak in the area, if the organizers can't answer those questions, well, then we're not going. What's the process you're going through?
Yeah, and we have an emergency response team who's looking at this, as every company does. And we're trying to assess how many people would be traveling from areas of greater risk. What are employee concerns as well? We want to be sensitive to their concerns and giving them more flexibility. And for instance, next week we're continuing with our U.S. sales kickoff in Las Vegas. We feel the risk of that is low. But we've eliminated the APJ and Europe events and preferring instead for a virtual kickoff that gives our employees the same benefits of kickoff, but doing it in a fully distributed fashion. So we're trying to be very sensitive. And obviously our emergency response teams are accessing all of the best known information sources around risk management on a global basis. And we try to follow the industry trends. We didn't pull out of Mobile World Congress, but we're interacting very much with GSMA to understand their plans. And when they came to that decision, we were in full support of it.
I do want to mention, as we're speaking, session highs across the board for the major indices, down just 300, it's odd to say just 318 points or so. The NASDAQ has gone positive near the flat line. Pat, I want to talk about VMware's business. Weaker than expected billings, revenue arguably ex-Pivotal. Your mix was a little bit more towards software as a service than expected. Explain what happened here and when this is going to clear up.
Yeah, and we had a mixed quarter, as you say, that finished a very strong year. Major acquisitions, we grew in the double digits. We had 15 quarters now of double-digit growth. And in the fourth quarter, we saw this acceleration in the SaaS and subscription business, something we've been working on for a while and where the puck is going in the industry. So that's exciting, but that depresses near-term revenues as those businesses grow more rapidly. We also saw an extraordinary number of late quarter deals. Some of those pushed very late in the quarter, and simply put, we didn't get them all finished at the end, which also was a factor as well. We own it. We believe we have to execute better. And we have enough demand, and we're seeing the customer interest in our products to believe and set double-digit growth guidance again for the year that we just communicated on our earnings call yesterday. And we feel like we can continue to satisfy digital transformation for our customers across our portfolio of products, and excited about what the year will present.
The end of last year, very beginning of this year, I was hearing in the cloud ecosystem from Amazon, Microsoft, Google, others, that they were hiring sales forces, really pushing strong into this year, expecting growth. Has this issue, the coronavirus, affected that at all, or do you think the cloud momentum in terms of pursuing aggressive sales is going just as strongly as it was at the end of last year?
Yeah, our view, and the view that I've said is that digital transformation is a 10-year cycle. And in it, GDP, tech spend, and software and cloud spend is even higher than that. I don't see that changing, John, in this year, even though GDP might lower that overall stack a bit. And in that, cloud hiring, the VMware activities and multi-cloud, our partnerships with Amazon, Azure, Google, IBM, Alibaba, all of these remain very strong. And we're seeing very strong demand interest from customers continuing as they see this transformational ability. Because digital transformation is not an IT budget item. It's a CEO priority, and the C-suite is focused on it. So we see that continuing really unabated into this next year, and our partnerships with all of the major cloud guys gaining momentum in the marketplace. Huge interest here.